Hello and welcome back to this fourth and final qualifying tournament for Legend of the Stars. We are now finally up to the final. We have got Nexus of Reality versus Petric, grand final for this tournament. Alright, let's get straight through to the action. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go to Africa. Alright, and unpausing. Okay, we are on Africa. I really like this map. This is a really fun map, especially 4v4 because it's, really nice set of variances. Of course, this one is 1 versus 1, so we're just going to be seeing a little bit of a different style of play. Interesting. Anyway, we have got Nombringer here with us once again. Are you there this time, Nombringer?
Yes, I am here.
Yes.
I learned how to use a microphone, so we're all good.
Okay, so in the bottom left, we have got Tuhu Master Race. Maybe someone could tell me how he's supposed to pronounce that. But he is Petric Pones. He is going Seraphim in his nice blue color that we kind of expect from Petric. He's going to throw down his first land factory. He's getting his 3 core mixes up and running. And that first engineer is going to, well, reclaim before starting that hydro.
And this is...
Whoop.
Oh, sorry, no. Let's introduce Nexus before I rush into my analysis.
The top right, we have got Nexus of Reality, also in his nice standard color, as to not confuse casters, which is very much appreciated. He has gone first land factory as well, getting double adjacency. He's got his first 3 mixes up and running, and he's got a lot of build power focusing on that hydro. Alright, now you can begin your analysis.
And I know nothing about this map. I've never seen it before. But what I did want to say was, from the look of it, there's a lot of mass. There's a lot of mass extractors. And one thing that I know, Petric is great when there's a lot to do. He's got a massive APM. If there's a lot going on, then I'm calling him a heavy favorite. If it was on a smaller map, I'd be more inclined towards Nexus. But on these really big maps where there's a lot going on, I've seen some really great things from Petric. So I'm calling Petric as the favourite.
Oh, right. Nexus, though, been particularly strong this tournament, so don't rule him out just yet.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, Nexus has played really well, and he's beaten some really good players. I mean, he got that sniping against Blackheart. But he beat other players fair and square. He hasn't just been lucking his way through, he's just been playing very, very well.
Okay, we have got a little bit of, well, it's not really aggression. There are some Selens coming out from Petric, so he's going to get those out across the map. And of course he's going to plonk them on mass extractors, because where else do you plonk your cloaked Selens? Well, that's going to give him a little bit of radar coverage, a little bit of intel, and hopefully let him know how the expansion for Nexus is going. And that expansion is going reasonably well. He's got his engineers heading out towards these extra expansion points. One engineer up to these 3 mixes and a hydro, and another engineer coming right across here. He's going to look for, well, it looks like he's going to pop a little factory down over that side of the map just to try and secure it a little bit more. So far, not really moving across to this island over the pond. Can't really blame him because there's only 3 mixes. Petric,
yeah, and both players, like, not doing anything special. They're just getting everything up and running. But you can see that no one's, I mean, maybe Petric has a slight score lead, but no one's playing badly. They're in this together, and the real game's going to start once they start clashing and once we see what the plans are.
Both these guys doing pretty much the same thing with their ACUs, bringing it forward, grabbing these extra couple of mixes, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, yes, there are some factory plans for Nexus as well, so both those guys are going to try and start the spam. Interestingly, no plays yet for that center crater. There is an absolute ton of mass in there. We often see an edge-built factory down there, or a drop of some description of engineers, and they all start scooping up that mass. There is a literal ton of it, and if we look at the Control-Shift command, we can see just a stupid amount, and yeah, the APM for Petric here could be a real boost to him, because there's just so much to do. He has to get engineers right across the map. He's got tons of reclaim, tons of expansions to worry about, tons of mixes to capture, lots and lots of fun.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen this map before, but I really do like these. I really do like the design. There's a lot to do.
So there's one factory at the front, and we can see actually a nice aggressive looking factory build there from Nexus. So he's planning to get out the front there, get 4 factories down. That's going to be an absolute ton of spam. We're not seeing quite the same projected spam coming out from Petrick. He's just got a 1 and a second land factory going down at the front there, but he is actually managing to apply a little bit of pressure. There is an expanding engineer here from Nexus. It's not going to be able to get close enough to reclaim. It is going to go down, so he's going to lose that mass extractor. That actually opens a little bit of a path up to his main base as well. There are a few units rolling out which will be able to intercept and cause a bit of havoc, but well, there's actually units back here as well. So Petrick's still managing to do a fantastic job of getting all up in Nexus's business and causing him problems.
And we saw this because, remember, these players have played each other before, and we saw this in the Loki game. But remember, Nexus won that. He was on the back foot, but he managed to eco, he managed to keep his head, he managed to stay calm. So it does look like Petrick does have a slight edge. He has a way of getting around Nexus's units in his defense.
So he's managed to take out, well, to take out one of those mixes. He's denied all the engineering power in the vicinity. Another mix just went down. So he's just managing to increase his lead just a little bit. Well, actually, no, Nexus is slightly in the lead, isn't he? 33 to 29, so Petrick trying to just even that up a little bit. And I think that is down to the extra mass extractors that Nexus has managed to build up here, which Petrick just not quite being able to get built on time. There was a raid here from Nexus, so Petrick's just being delayed a little bit there, giving a bit of an advantage over to Nexus.
Yeah, but the thing is, and Nexus can build those bottom mixes quite easily. They're right next to his base. Petrick, he did manage to save his engineer, crucially. If he'd lost his engineers up there, that'd be a lot worse. But as it is, he doesn't have too much travel time to get there. So it isn't as bad as it could be.
And he actually has a transport out as well, so he would have been able to replace them pretty quickly. That transport dropping 1 engineer out by that mix, and then it looks like he's going out for these more extra mixes here, and the side island worth 3 more mixes. So far, no plans from Nexus by the looks of it to go after those islands. They are a little bit harder to hold, especially if your opponent has hover units, because typically you'll just have engineers out there, and then you'll get some Zoes or some Auroras rolling on over and causing you all sorts of headaches. So in this case, both these guys are Seraphim. They can both spam some Zoes across the water, so it will be a little bit harder to hold those, although we do have a transport coming out from Nexus, so we'll see a bit of a contention here, because both these guys are dropping engineers in the same spot. Well, actually, they're just about exactly the same spot at the same time.
We're going to see who's paying attention first.
And who is it?
Only 2 engineers for Petrick, 4 engineers for Nexus.
Okay, so it looks like Petrick was slightly faster with the reclaim order, but that 1 extra engineer made it count. And Nexus just saying in chat, hi. The little engineers just waving to each other.
Yeah, nicely played by Nexus. Crucially, neither player lost the transport though. So Nexus can have another shot. There's only one... Sorry, Petrick can have another shot. There's only 1 engineer there, and it looks like he's already going back to pick up something to stick right on that sole engineer.
Yeah, he's dropped an Aurora down there. That will finish... Oh, Aurora, what am I talking about? A FAM. He is going to finish that off. So that is going to deny the expansion, but both of these guys not having any engineers on the island at all now.
Yeah, both having to... Yeah, this is a really, really even match.
We've got Nexus pushing a little bit on around his left, and then Petrick pushing on his left as well. It looks like though Nexus maybe just having a few more units at his disposal, though this push around the side here for Petrick, there's not really anything to answer that. That is going to maybe break through. Depends on what Nexus ends up doing with these couple of units back here. But it's looking...
Yeah, now...
Wow.
Yeah, a crucial thing to look at is who's managing to reclaim everything faster, because on a map like this, we saw on the control shift, there's rocks everywhere, and whoever can reclaim that faster and turn it into units and economy quicker is going to have a lead. But right now it looks like both players are just doing it almost exactly the same rate.
Almost exactly. So Nexus has managed to take control of that island. He did another drop full of FAMs and engineers. The FAMs managed to take out the units from Petrick, and the engineers are still alive to secure the mixes. But then we've got this other push around this side up here. That is from Petrick. He's going to be able to push right through. All of these units are off chasing this the FAM with how many HP? With 24 HP. All of those units were dragged away, and that has completely opened up this plateau to this push from Petrick. Has he got radar? He does have a radar. So
he does have radar, but he's got no units. That's the problem. And so very well you can see your mix is getting destroyed, but it's not going to stop them. Point defense will be going up though.
Alright, and let's just look at the reclaim figures while we're here. We're at 11k for Nexus and 6,200 for Petrick. So despite it looking reasonably even, twice the amount of reclaim there for Nexus. He's doing a fantastic job of it, and he's just dropped 4 engineers and 2 THAMs in that central crater, so those guys will be able to get to work on pulling up all of those rocks as well. Even if he loses some of these T1 mixes down the back here, and he does have a point defense up, even if he loses those Tech 1 mixes, that's really not a big price to pay. He has got so much reclaim, he is still looking to run away with the eco.
I'm having to completely eat my words here because Nexus, not Petrick, is managing to keep more of an eye on everything, and despite having to deal with raids, he's managing to find the time in the APM to actually reclaim everything, and that's huge. 4,000 mass? That's a big, big chunk.
It is absolutely huge. It looks like Petrick is pushing forward around his right now, but the ACU for Nexus is actually coming up, and I'm not quite sure what he's planning to build there. Tech 2 point defense, that's not going to happen because it is well within range of that assault force from Petrick, but it does mean that all of the units there from Nexus are going to be able to deal with those THAMs, and that's going to give Nexus a pretty good advantage on his left. That's the right hand side of the map as well. He's doing fairly well. He's pushing Petrick back on the left side of the map as well. In fact, he's making his way all the way up past these mixes. He's going to take out one of those, and he's got more units incoming as well. He is holding this island. He's got a factory on it. He's doing pretty well. He's 91 mass per sec.
He's honestly pretty much now at this point ahead in most ways. His Tech 2 production is up and running. Petrick's still trying to get his ACU upgrading, and he's also getting raided. You've noticed Nexus let some of Petrick's units through at the start, but now he's managed to close everything up, and Petrick isn't close to raiding or breaking through on any side of the map.
How is the air game going? There's actually a decent little stack of interceptors down there for Petrick. What has Nexus got? I'm not seeing a lot at all. He's got a few interceptors dotted around, but nothing major.
Yeah, he did have a sort of... He decided he wanted to go Tech to Air, realized he didn't have the power, and is now trying to finish the power generator before he does it. But it looks like Nexus is trying to get into the Tech to Air game as well. That expansion in the center getting taken out before he can get a lot of the reclaim, but it's still going to be a big reclaim lead, I think. And crucially, we saw even... Yeah, and even if Petrick manages to catch up, the fact that Nexus got it first is a big deal, because the earlier you grab that mass, the more subjective value it's worth.
And now it looks like Nexus is going after this left-hand island that Petrick currently owns. He's just dropped half a dozen FAMs on there. That is going to be quite problematic for the couple of engineers that are sitting there. There is one Zooey, and actually if he's forgotten about that, which he looks like he may have, he's actually going to lose a lot of HP. Didn't actually lose any THAM completely, but he lost a lot of health from that Zooey shot. He's going to roll on in and cause problems, but Petrick is also dropping engineers up in the top left here, capturing that mass extractor. That's going to just help him out.
Yeah, also managing to break through a bit on the left with a couple of chickens. He did manage, even though he's behind, he did manage to get his Tech 2 out slightly faster, and he did manage to create a small breach on the left, and he's going to try and take away Nexus's top left expansion, of which there's 3 recently upgraded Tech 2 mass extractors, so that's something Nexus really needs to address as fast as possible.
Yeah, that left side is looking a bit weak for Nexus right now. There's quite a lot of wrecks here. He's obviously had a bit of a loss in the centre there. Petrick is just focusing too much on the T2 spam now. Those Ilshivas, there's quite a few of them appearing on the field. Nexus, he's still ahead in economy, but I just don't think he's got the numbers of Ilshivas. So how many have we got? Let's just do a quick count up. Well, actually he's got a lot. They're all concentrated on the right hand side. He's got 20 Ilshivas compared to, well, 23, so pretty even actually. Pretty even. They're just concentrated in different places. So Petrick is making breakthroughs over on this side of the map, while the Ilshivas are sitting idle over here for Nexus by his ACU.
Yeah, so even Ilshiva numbers, Petrick's a better position, they're rating, but Nexus just has more Tech 2 mass extractors. It's as simple as that. He's also managed to secure the right side with a couple of PDs, so he really just needs to turn his attention to the left side, consolidate, and see what Petrick has. Because if Petrick keeps falling behind in eco, it's going to run away with him. Petrick bringing out Tech 2 transports. I suspect he's going to keep up with the aggression, try for some Yulshiva drops, try to anything to make sure that he doesn't fall behind anymore. Play aggressively.
It looks like Nexus is trying to deal with all of those raids with gunships, so he's got a couple of gunships up there, he's got another stack up here, so he's got half a dozen so far, which means he can respond reasonably well to Ilshivas being dropped as long as those Ilshivas don't have flak with them. Now it looks like Nexus has actually pulled together all of his Ilshivas, so there's a pretty significant clump right there, and he's making some good gains on this left, so he's pushed Petrick right back, and he's making some big progress. And there's actually a TAC missile launcher which is under severe threat now. It's actually got 2 missiles in the clip. That's a little bit of a loss. Actually, there goes 1 missile now. Petrick realizing he needs to hurry up and launch those things before he loses them. Where are they going to go? They are heading up towards probably these 2-2 mixes up here, because there are no TAC defense yet. Is there a Tech 2 engineer out? Yeah, there are some TAC missile defenses planned, but they're just going to be too late. That missile is already inbound. That's going to start hammering away at that T2 economy.
Yeah, although crucially, Petrick did lose that fight, and Nexus is going to have engineers reclaiming really soon. That big reclaim field is going to mean a lot. Drop from Petrick on the right-hand expansion of Nexus, managing to take out 1 T2 max, possibly a second. 2 T2 maxes down. Gunship's trying to clear it up, but that's a good chunk of damage right there. And also losing some maxes on the top, so that might bring Petrick back into it.
Yeah, I think it does. Nexus is now on 87, 85 mass per tick, so he's dropped a lot, while Petrick actually hasn't taken many losses at all. He's up to 102 mass per tick, so not huge gains for Petrick, but doing a lot of damage against Nexus, and really starting to get a little bit ahead in the eco there.
Yeah, a lot of really nice drops, and we've seen this before where Petrick's multitasking. He's doing stuff everywhere all the time, and even though Nexus has been ahead of eco, his units are constantly running around chasing Petrick's. But that big ball of Ilshivas on the left side, managing to carve his way through more of Petrick's forces, and Nexus already reclaiming behind that. That's a huge reclaim field right there. Transport coming in from Nexus, trying to do the same thing that Petrick just did to him, while the gunships on the right-hand side come round to raid and see if they can pick off some engineers and mass extractors.
The Ilshivas in the centre, they're coming under a little bit of pressure from those T1 bombers. I mean, T1 bombers don't do a huge amount of damage, but when you've got 3 of them, they actually do quite a bit, especially with area of effect. A tightly bunched group of Ilshivas will actually die reasonably quickly to a few T1 bombers if they're not checked. And Petrick actually looking pretty good in the air game. He's got a lot of interceptors. I think he's got more than Nexus right now. Let's have a quick count up. We have got 44 and a couple out of gas. Nexus sitting on 26, so you're almost a 2-to-1 advantage in the number of interceptors, which is going to make it really hard for these gunships to stay alive. We can see those starting to disappear pretty quickly now that Petrick has brought his gunship or his interceptors in to deal with those gunships. So there's quite a big investment there for Nexus that is going to vaporize.
Yeah, but Nexus has managed to get the drops off. He's got good Ilshivas denying the bottom expansion, and more importantly, he now has a Tech 3 land HQ up. Petrick's still not even starting his HQ, and he doesn't have as many engineers around it as Nexus does. Meanwhile, both his expansions are just getting gutted by these T2 transport drops.
Nexus just did exactly to Petrick what Petrick had done to him, and it just swung the ecos back around the other way, so it puts Nexus back over 100, and then Petrick down again. Petrick just continuing to lose Nexus though.
And the first siege tank is on the field, so Petrick needs to make something happen now. He needs to make a breakthrough now, get some drops out, get some raids in. Otherwise he's going to be seriously behind on his T3 production, because he doesn't even have an HQ factory yet.
Nexus has shown how he can also counter raid or counter drop. If he can drop a single off them in a couple of different places, that is just going to completely block Petrick from being able to recover that eco. He's sitting on Wow, it's about 30 mass protect behind right now. That's a reasonable amount.
That's a lot, particularly when you've got nothing to show for it. He doesn't have a unit advantage. Normally, if someone ecos up a lot, you've got a few extra units to play with. But now Petric's at a tech disadvantage, a unit disadvantage, and a mass disadvantage.
Transport goes down. There was a transport laden with Ilshivas flying, unfortunately for Petric, right through that cloud of interceptors, and it goes down without a fight. So unfortunately, that extra bit of support that Petric was probably relying on to keep the pressure on up there in Nexus's base, it's not really going to happen. He does have a few more units up here. A single Otham would be able to deal with those, or a couple of Ilshivas. Looks like Nexus has maybe missed that though. He may not have radar up anymore. He doesn't, so he's actually unaware that there are some more units inbound. Those are going to surprise the engineers in just a minute.
Yeah, Nexus, once again, he is getting raided, but he's not panicking. Petric's managing to do stuff in a lot of places, but Nexus knows he has the tech advantage, he knows he has the eco advantage, he's just trying to hold on and wait for that increased efficiency of the T3 units to tell.
Alright, and Petric coming in with another drop on the right there. He drops a single Ilshiva to take care of the engineers and the mixers on that expansion, and he's going to come in and drop the rest up here to deal more damage. So he's going to try and swing the eco back the other way. I don't think he's really recovered yet. He's still rebuilding these mixers down the bottom. They were T2. He's still sitting on only 63 mass protect, so a pretty big disadvantage, and this is starting to look like a big problem in the center.
Yeah, he has managed to get a drop off on the right, and he's raiding the expansion on the left. But that center push is very, very big, and once again, Nexus is getting all the reclaim behind that.
In fact, the ACU for Petric is a little bit vulnerable right now. He is having to back on up because he is in a serious amount of danger.
He needs a Tech 2 transport. He needs a Tech 2 transport very, very fast.
Those units are looking to overrun that ACU. I mean, Othams, everyone bags them for not being the best T3 tank, but I mean, still, when you've got a stack of Othams like that against a stack of Ilshivas, it's really no contest, and we can see just how quickly Petric's units are vaporizing. I don't think Petric has got a T2 transport coming in. No, not at all. He's got a Otham of his own now, but he is surrounded by Othams. There are probably a little bit too many. Does he have overcharge? I don't know if he does. Was that an overcharge? No. He's got plenty of power, plenty of overcharge actually. He will be doing it as fast as he can, but he's just taking way too much damage. And there we go.
Oh my god, those Othams.
And that's that. So, Nexus of Reality.
I have to say, I'm eating my words completely. Nexus just completely showed us he had better map awareness, better control, more reclaim, and just, he didn't do anything special, he just outplayed him.
Yeah, I mean, they were basically tit for tat in terms of raiding and eco. They were knocking each other's expansions out, but Nexus just managed to have more online for longer. He got a big pile of Othams, and they just punched right through, and Petric, his ACU just a little bit too far forward, wasn't able to get out of there in time. There's no T2 transport to save him. I think if he had managed to overcharge a bunch of those Othams and then get picked up by a transport, he may have been able to come out okay, but just wasn't the case.
Yeah, Nexus saw that Petric was vulnerable, and he didn't waste any time, he just went for it.
Alright, there we have it. So that is the final game of this last qualifying tournament for Legend of the Stars. We'll be back again in, well, it's about a month's time, I believe, maybe 5 weeks, something like that, with the championship. It is going to be fantastic, so I hope to see you all there. Congratulations to Nexus of Reality for winning this particular tournament, and a big thanks to the tournament directors for arranging all this, making it all happen, and of course a big thanks to Legend of the Stars for his sponsorship. And I think there's also a trophy as well that Zoc managed to organise, a funny, clear, pointy thing. I don't know, but there's a picture of it on the forum somewhere if you're interested. But someone is going to walk away with that in December, and a big stack of dollary dues to make their wallet just that little bit fatter. Alright, thanks for watching. That concludes this tournament. I'll see you next time.